What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Tuesday, February 20th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Tim Geddes.
Let Tim host.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah?
Jared Petty joining the ranks?
Woo!
Are you kidding me?
Thank you all
The
for
hype is
all
real.
the love yesterday for Jared Petty's debut episode. Remember, support him, patreon.com/Jared Petty. It's hard not to say Kinda Funny right there because I've done it so much.
So many
you know
times.
what I mean? But remember, just to be clear, Jared quit his job. Started his own thing, continues on his own YouTube channel, doing game stuff now, revamped his Patreon. That's his full-time gig. He is part of the Kinda Funny family, hosting Kinda Funny Games Daily on Thursdays traditionally. This week, it's going to be Monday, Thursday, and Friday. And then being part of the Games Cast every Thursday as well.
It's similar to Andrea Renee with What's Good Games.
Exactly. And somewhat similar to Gary Whitta. Kind of. Because Gary
yeah.
just has another...
Comes and
he
goes.
just apparently still writes Star Wars stuff all the time.
But we don't know.
I don't
Working
know.
on the Last Jedi
Comic book, yeah. He's supposed to be doing something with Mouse Guard. I've never seen anything. I think he might be at the point in his career where Gary Whitta just takes the checks, cashes them,
I'm into
and
that.
then just runs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got
for
so
you,
many
Gary
projects.
Whitta.
Do it. Live your life, Gary Whitta.
And a lot of people have been asking, will there ever be a Gary Whitta, Jared Petty episode?
1000%.
I'm sure at some point.
100%
Every
there will be.
combination will happen at some point.
I loved it on the subreddit yesterday. I chimed in. I was all over it trying to answer questions, and there was one like, wait, I don't understand what the schedule is yet, because we never explained this yesterday because we're bad at messaging sometimes. So the way it'll work out, right, traditionally for a Kinda Funny Games Daily is I'm here every day. Monday, Tim Geddes. Tuesday, Andrea Renee. Wednesday, Widow Wednesday. Thursday, Jared Petty. Friday, Andrea Renee. As I called out in the subreddit yesterday, that's not happening this week or next week, and I don't know about the week after that. So that's how it works here. Everybody's very busy moving around.
That's what an ideal week looks like.
Sure.
But everybody travels. Andrea's out for a while because this week's not right because she's
Dice.
doing Dice
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're doing Dice. It's a whole thing, but
It's a rigmarole, as they would say. Yeah, I'm excited to do it with
Me
you.
too.
Okay. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, kindafunny.com/KFGD. Writing with your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, news segments, whatever you want to say about video games. We make the show for you. You get to watch it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames live as we record it. But remember, we don't look at the chat. Instead, if you want to be part of the show, you have a special job. You got to go, if you're watching live, to kindafunny.com/you'rewrong. Tell us what facts we screw up as we screw them up so we can set the record straight. For everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you. As you said, Tim, Dice Awards are this week. I will be gone starting tomorrow afternoon. Still here for Kinda Funny Games Daily tomorrow and Widow Wednesday. Then taking off to host the Dice Awards Thursday night with Jessica Chobot from The Nerdist and a million other things. You can watch it. We'll be hosting it here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. You can catch it later if you want to somewhere else. Also on Thursday, the PlayStation VR show drops its first public episode, which is super hot, which is up right now on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. And also episode 2 goes live for everybody giving us $1 or more on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. That is Sprint Vector. And that is a fucking doozy.
Yes, it is. I want to give a couple housekeeping shout outs to Kinda Funny Games Cast.
Sure.
A couple weeks back, I did a one-on-one with Brian Altano that was his gaming history. This week for Patreon users at the $1 above level on Thursday, me and Jared Petty are going to be doing a one-on-one. That's the same thing, going through his gaming history. And live right now is the one-on-one, the hypening of me and Michael Huber from Easy Allies, and I love that episode.
A lot of people do. I was reading the subreddit stuff,
and I was getting myself hyped up about stuff.
You're hyping yourself.
Somebody, a raving review in the comments was like, it's like eating Captain Crunch Berries if it was just the Crunch Berries.
Nice. Yes, that is a good one. That is a good one.
They sell those.
Oops, all berries.
Oops, all berries. They do sell those now too. And of course, our sponsor this week is none other than patreon.com/Jared Petty. Remember, Jared quit his job and needs your support to make sure he doesn't starve. And his wife doesn't starve. So go to patreon.com/Jared Petty. But I'll tell you more about our sponsor later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. What's wrong, Big Kev Dog?
I forgot to look at the time, so I had to turn over and it shifted my neck.
Gotcha.
Fucked up the noise.
Did Nick mark down what the last sub he left off on?
He sure did.
I don't trust him to do that anymore. 3 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen!
Thank you, Kevin. He's off his game today.
He's off his game.
Now, here's what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen. I ask you all the time, write into kindafunny.com/KFGD. Be part of the show.
Yeah.
Today, you have drastically affected the show by making sure this is the #1 news story.
Oh, yeah.
Because I moved this to new dates because it was just
a new date.
a confirmation. A confirmation. It's been limping along forever. However, 80 to 85% of questions were about
Take me down to Paradise
Burnout
City.
Paradise Remaster officially being fucking real after being leaked here, skew somewhere here on this website. It's all real. Here's IGN's blurb for it. EA has announced a Burnout Paradise Remastered for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One with a PC version to follow. PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X players can make the most of their system with 4K resolution and 60 frames per second. Pre-orders are open now for a March 16th release on console. EA Access members can dive in on March 9th with the first play trial for 10 hours of unrestricted gameplay. No date for the PC, but coming soon is what they say. What does this do for you?
It's very exciting. Big Burnout fan myself. Not the biggest Burnout fan. And I know I've already seen today there's a lot of scuttlebutt over, is this the right Burnout? Like, what about Burnout 3 Takedown? And that's the problem, is this is one of those franchises that has a clear divide of Team Takedown versus Team Paradise.
Sure.
You know?
But
this is a good step.
If memory serves, and I'm reaching here because I was never a big Burnout fan until Paradise, and even then I was like, oh, this is just better than I thought it was. And kindoffunny.com/wrong. Burnout Paradise didn't have the crash mode that people love. You crash in it, and you have obviously there's slow-mo and shit. But
I think it was called the takedown.
Before
mode,
then,
right?
there was a crash mode where all you did was fuck up your car, not take other people down, I think. And that's what people loved from Burnout 2 or whatever, and did all this different stuff. That was like, for a lot of people, I remember at IGN, they're like, Burnout Memory was sitting there on PlayStation 2, having a few beers and screwing around with friends and seeing who could do the most crash. Yeah.
So this definitely is exciting. I've seen a lot of other tweets about people that are like, I'd much rather a new one. And this is like, do I support this to get the new one, or is that supporting bad behavior? I don't know. Do you? 4K, 60 frames per second, that definitely would benefit a game like this. Watching the trailer, I was like, oh shit, this looks it looks good. And like that says a lot for, like, racing games are kind of one of the showcase genres when it comes to graphics on consoles, where it's like that will show where you're at graphically with the fidelity and everything. And seeing something like this, and granted, Burnout was always a bit more on the arcadey side, but it was still a beautiful game back in the day.
Well, let's jump into some of the reader mail that came in. All right, we're gonna start with K-Babs. And I think I might be I might give up the ghost and just call him Kebabs, even though it's not how he spells it. It should be pronounced K-Babs. But Kebabs writes in and says, hello, esteemed Kinda Funny Games daily show hosts, who I totally know the names of today. The release of Burnout Paradise has a few interesting tidbits not in the initial press release. First, the game will not run at 60 frames per second, a feature that was standard on the original PS3 360 release, unless it's with an Xbox One X or a PlayStation 4 Pro. What happened there? Second, it features the full soundtrack, including Guns N' Roses, Avril Lavigne, (UGG), you go fuck yourself, K-Babs, and more. Does that influence the prospects of other license-heavy soundtrack games from EA, like SXX3, getting remasters or remakes? Thanks, and keep up the great work, Kebabs.
So starting from the end of that, that did surprise me. Well, because I didn't really think about it when all the leaks were coming out about the soundtrack.
How important the soundtrack was?
I didn't remember. I don't associate Burnout and its soundtrack. Those aren't memories that are embedded in my mind.
I remember Guns N' Roses because they fucking shoved Paradise City down your fucking throat.
But when this trailer started with that, I was like, oh, okay. I remembered. I was like, I guess that is a big deal. So it's exciting because there's a lot of games that I wish that we'd get again, and we never will because of things like licensing.
It's the same way that Crazy Taxi doesn't feel like Crazy Taxi because you don't have it.
It's not shitty. It feels not right.
When you jump in, it's not the Offspring.
Yeah, it's like what's going on? And I feel like SSX, all three of them, or at least the original three, specifically Tricky, were so tied to their soundtracks that it'd be hard for them to kind of make that worth it. But it probably is worth it here because it's a very expensive game.
Sure.
They're charging a lot of money for this thing.
Yeah, I would imagine it's twofold. I think that this comes from a different era than the PS2 classics we're talking about, right? If I talk about Crazy Taxi, which I know Dreamcast, but I think of it as a PS2 game.
One of them blue discs.
Yeah. I don't think at the time when you're making a contract there, we were thinking about the future and digital downloads and remasters and all that stuff. But by the time you get to PS3 games, you were. So I don't know what the business licensing of music there, if it then included a thing in perpetuity. From we're licensing this song for this game in any form it may release to. Not to mention it also could be what you're saying, that they expect this game to do well. Let's put the money in there to actually make the soundtrack the way it should be.
Let me know on kindoffunny.com/you're-wrong about the GTA soundtracks for GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. When they did their, like, all the ports that they've had, whether it's mobile or PC and all that stuff, with the exception of PC. All the different ports, like, did the soundtrack stay the same? Was there anything
interesting?
cut?
Good question.
Let us know.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's the point or what, but I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Music does define these kind of games. I do remember Paradise City opening every time, and that woman's voice being like, "Welcome to Burnout Paradise City."
And then going back up to the 60
I think she goes, "Welcome to Paradise City," and blah, 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 blah. Here you can do all this different shit.
Yeah.
Going back to the frame rate.
per second for the X and Pro, that is interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that they're taking it away from the other, just the normal Xbox and PlayStation, that ain't a good look at all.
Yeah. Did you see that in your rundown? I saw it in this question, but I didn't see anybody reporting that. No, I didn't go into deep depth about it.
I didn't either.
I mean, I would imagine, what happened there is the fact that they need to optimize and move these things over, and it's not as easy, and it is a remaster, so they are up-resing it and doing stuff to an extent that I guess you couldn't run it. But I don't know. I'm not no game dev.
It's dumb. It's really dumb.
Yeah.
I personally, I think that that's unacceptable, but I also say that as somebody that owns an X and a Pro, so it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
And if that's the type of thing that affects you, you should probably get an extra Pro.
Right.
And I understand it's not we don't have money for that. All right, well, you're going to get the games that don't have 60 frames per second.
We knew this was coming, right?
Yeah.
This is the point of the downside of iterative consoles, is that you're going to get to, what are they going to start locking behind this stuff? Mm-hmm. I don't understand what tech or power is there, but I also don't understand how you go and remaster a game and make it, take something from the PlayStation 3 generation and make it work on these units. So they have to do it that way. Next one comes from Andy Climax. You run into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, "Greetings, Kinda Funny Games Daily Crew. With Burnout Paradise Remastered finally announced, do you think this means anything for the future of EA and their previous reluctance for remasters? Will the much requested Mass Effect trilogy come to fruition as an attempt to get back in the good graces of those burned by Andromeda and Battlefront last year? Could we get a Dead Space remaster, Kingdoms of Amalur, or is this simply EA throwing a bone to Burnout fans that have gone 10 years without a new core entry, possibly gauging their interest in a new installment now that the Need for Speed series is underperforming? We'd love to hear your thoughts, even though we know the answer to one of those questions. Hint, it's the Amalur one. Andy Climax. Do you think this is Andy Cortez's Climax? Or is this just a guy named Andy Climax?
It's just a dude named Andy.
Okay, sorry, my apologies.
I predict that we will inevitably get a Dead Space remaster and a Mass Effect trilogy remaster.
And Kingdoms of Amalur.
Nope.
No,
I don't think Kingdoms of Amalur will happen.
A lot of people wrote in on this vein, of course. There's the, not infamous, but famous Peter Moore line of like, we're looking to the future, remasters of the past, we're not interested in that. And a lot of people were like, on the one hand, cool, yeah, like that's great. And then on the other hand, well, I want Mass Effect. I want to play all these games again. I want to do that. I think, yeah, Andy, this is them... a mix of everything you put in that question. I think it is gauging interest. Do people still care about Burnout? People say they want Burnout. This was, arguably the most successful Burnout. It's the biggest Burnout. People still love their open world games and competing in online leaderboard shit. This is still that. We could just put that out and be done with it. We could gauge interest and see if people would actually want that thing. Gauging interest off remasters is always weird though, because
it's not one for one.
I'm interested in a new
Crash Bandicoot and Medieval are not equal.
Yeah, and it's the fact of too that, unless, like, you're a hardcore Crash fan. Obviously, there was a ton of Crash fans who've been starving for Crash games. I feel there's so many racing games out there that putting out Burnout Paradise, a game that I did play and did enjoy, doesn't really get me psyched to go back and play it because I've already played it. I know what is going on. It would be like, well, I guess that's a. I mean, I'm trying to think of a game that I like. Obviously, I'd buy Infamous Collection Remaster, right? I love that. But I wouldn't expect everybody who played Infamous and enjoyed it to buy it. Yeah. And like then you fall in the camps of the games I've played that I would, oh, cool, you're putting on a remaster. I'm never going to play it, but I'm glad it's out there for fans. I don't know if that accurately gauges interest, even though I guess, again, the scuttlebutt around this today, the leaks, the rumors, and, just the questions we've got out of kindoffunny.com/KFG definitely shows there is a Burnout fan base out there that does want content.
Yeah. And, the Switch port begging is just kind of a broken record at this point. Sure. But you got to imagine that all these guys are looking at the value of remastering up from the PS3 generation up to the PS4 and Xbox One generation. But then they're also looking at the port just direct over to the Switch generation.
Yeah.
and no, not generation, just the Switch.
I know what you mean,
but seeing the value there in terms of how things are going to sell. And I would not be surprised if at E3, like things like Dead Space or Mass Effect, I don't know what's more likely, them being ported up to PS4 and Xbox One or them being ported to Switch.
Interesting. Here's my thing. I'm with you.
Both is also an option.
I'm with you that you'll get the Mass Effect trilogy remastered at some point. I don't think it's super imminent. I think they're going to want to get on the other side of Anthem probably. I think they want to get away from Andromeda 2 to let that breathe a bit. I bet that, yeah, you get Mass Effect. I don't think you ever get Dead Space.
I think you will. Dead Space.
Oh, now are we saying collection or are we saying Dead Space 1?
Dead Space 1. At least Dead Space 1. It might be collection, whatever. Dead Space is the type of game that no matter how it's sold, it reminds me kind of Shadow of the Colossus, where it's going to come back. I mean, I was surprised Shadow came back in the way that it did, but even just when it was first HD-ified on PS3, like Dead Space is the type of thing it can't be too hard for them to go back and just move it somewhere. If they can do it for Burnout, they can definitely do it for Dead Space.
No, I was thinking more, a trilogy remastered, similar to Mass Effect.
Got it.
Dead Space 1, yeah, is a game in time where, again, you missed out on it. You know, people talk about it even if you missed out on it, so you know it was good. You understand, I think, that we bang the drum often enough that it just had unrealistic sales expectations the further it went in that franchise, so that's what killed it. And that was, you hope, a different EA at the time, and similar to an EA that wouldn't put out remasters, that was an EA that didn't understand the value of that IP. So yeah, if you were to come out and be like, hey, there's a Dead Space remaster coming, that'd be cool.
EA is in a different place now than they were when they made all those quotes.
100%.
I feel like they are the butt of every joke, more so than they've ever been, and that sucks because
as someone reading the DICE Awards script, oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they've been in bad situations in the past based on the decisions they've made and their business practices. But we all know, don't need to reiterate the microtransactions.
Right, they need goodwill. They
do.
need to get some wins in their column and say, hey, we are still about gamers and gamers first, and what Peter Moore had been driving at for so long until he went to go play football. I digress, and not real football, by the way. But I digress. I digress on my digression. Number 2, a lot of Europeans mad at me. Number 2, H1Z1 has gotten its ass kicked by PUBG and Fortnite. This is, first off, this is from, how do you say this? Githyp? Githyp? How would you pronounce this website? I'd never heard of it. I found it via IGN. IGN reported on it. I went through the thing. Githyp. Githyp is what we'll say, I guess, yeah. This is a fascinating one. Before we even get into it, the fact that H1Z1, I remember being the first Battle Royale, King of the Mountain, hey, here's, everybody's in this world playing each other, kind of, and it started with zombies, and then it moved away from that.
It was the first game that we played of it, because there was one before it, at least one before it.
Rust? Which was more a survival, I guess.
Yeah, there was one Daisy, I don't remember
You're making a good point. The first one we played. Yeah. The first one I'd ever played, obviously, H1Z1 stems from SOE, which did DC Universe, which then became Daybreak, then SOE became Daybreak Games. So, I was hip to it because I had friends or colleagues or whatever that I knew had done DC stuff and were somehow working on this or whatever tied up in it. And so that's the first time I ever played one of these games, open world. And it was also the first one that was like, hey, we're coming to PlayStation 4. And then they broke it into 2 versions, one that was the Battle Royale mode, one that was more thing. And I remember that being such a weird decision at the time.
A lot of weird decisions.
Before PUBG and before Fortnite and before there's 2 versions of Fortnite.
And we played it one time and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of
Kill,
fun.
right?
King of the Kill was what we played, and we did one Let's Play of it, and it was Battle Royale. 100 people dropped in a map, and it's just there's a condensing area you can be in, and we had such a blast playing it. And then it was just so funny to see eventually when PUBG and Fortnite come out to just totally eat its lunch.
But that's the thing, right? That I knew about H1Z1 even before we did the Let's Play, right? You're talking about, right? And so to remember that be the thing of like, oh, that, like you're talking about DayZ or one PUBG, or I like, oh, that's like H1Z1 or whatever. DayZ, kindoffunny.com/wrong. DayZ was an Arma 2 mod. Yeah, that was the thing. Anyways, for the longest time, H1Z1, I was like, oh, that's the one that was going to do it right. And then kind of totally fucking forgot about it. Actually, somebody yesterday emailed me from Daybreak to be like, hey, I just popped up here. I'm the new whatever, and this is my new job title. And I was like, all right. Oh, what are you guys doing? H1Z1. Like, what's going on? Anyways, the article from Githyp goes, towards the end of last year, things took a grim turn. looked grim for H1Z1 after a humble bundle sale and free weekend on Steam both weren't enough to keep the game's player base from declining. Back then, the former self-proclaimed king of the battle royale genre had already lost a shocking 78% of its players. And with such a large exodus of players in the span of just 4 months, it didn't seem like anything was going to be able to bring the players back. Now, just 2 months later, H1Z1 has continued its downfall, losing 91% of its players since peaking back in July 2017. During its best months, H1Z1 King of the Kill was holding strong as the number 3 most played game on Steam with an all-time peak of 150,000 players, an average of 86,000 players per hour. Today, you'll find it struggling to crack the top 50 with less than 10,000 concurrent players most days and a peak of only 14,000 players so far this month.
Wow. Makes sense.
100%. And I think this is they had something and didn't capitalize fast enough. And that's what we talk about. I think when PUBG moved into we went to not Bluehole, was it Bluehole? Bluehole, and then they spun it out into PUBG Corp, and suddenly there was mobile games and this, and they're getting the Xbox, and I think it was like, man, this is all really happening fast for a game that like isn't complete and is buggy as hell on PC alone. Yeah. But you look at H1Z1, which did the opposite of, cool, this is a big thing. We're going to come to PlayStation 4 one day. We're going to work on it a long time before you get like the
real core of it.
And so they just lost it, right? They had that moment where they were killing it and they didn't capitalize fast enough, as you saw, number one, PUBG do it, and then you saw Fortnite do it, where it was, hey, Fortnite Save the World mode is not setting the world on fire. We love PUBG. Let's try to combine that and capitalize on that, and both of them off to the races.
Boom. They did it. Yeah.
So just a little allegory there, a story for Kevin Coelho. Strike while the iron's hot, Kevin, they say. Number 3.
And then they also say, early bird gets the worm.
They do.
The second rat gets the cheese.
Also true. These are all.
That makes sense for this.
They also say don't put sugar in a gas tank. Number 3. Doom has added motion controls. This is the one I could have put in out today patches, but I just tossed it here because it's a weird one, I think.
It's weird, yeah.
This is from Bethesda themselves. Get ready to blast through demons on the go in new ways thanks to a brand new game update for Doom, arriving today on Nintendo Switch. With today's update, we've added motion aiming to Doom, a much requested control option that allows you to utilize the built-in gyroscope of the Joy-Con for more precise aiming. The option can be used in conjunction with traditional aiming, using the controller's analog stick for the perfect blend of immersion and accuracy. For multiplayer fans, we've made it even easier to group up and play with your friends. We've added a new party system to Doom multiplayer, so you can easily get your friends together and throw down with foes.
Get your game on.
Awesome, they're still updating it.
Yep.
I don't know who was requesting this.
Nobody, but I watched a video of GameXplain using it, and it looked pretty cool. Definitely not for me. Having said that, though, there's been many times, especially on handheld systems, where motion controls have been useful and helpful. Playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D remake or whatever they called it, like there was moments where I was like, oh, it is more intuitive actually to aim with this, and that's cool. So I'm happy that's there. We'll see with Metroid Prime.
It's just cool to see. I mean, Bethesda must be seeing success on the platform enough to, hey, we're going to update this game.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to listen to the audience.
Left it as
is. It could have just been there it is and we're done. See you later.
I'm so interested to see Bethesda's E3 this year. Like, what do they do? What do they announce? Where do they support? Big questions, Greg.
Big questions indeed, Tim. I'll tell you what, though. My big question is when the hell is Spider-Man coming out?
I don't know, man.
But Insomniac sits up in their ivory fucking tower throwing us chicken bones and no answers. If I want to know what games came out today, where would I go to find the digital mom and grop shop list?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Yeah! I'm trying to get Kevin back on the tracks.
No,
you know what I mean?
Off, man.
He's like little Thomas the Tank Engine. It's on its side. Tongue hanging out of its mouth. Ants going inside its carriage. Out today. Age of Empires Definitive Edition on PC. Armored Warfare on PlayStation 4. Metal Gear Survive on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. J-Tone interrupts the show from kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, hello, Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts. So Metal Gear Survive came out today, and I don't care what the haters say, it's extremely fun. I have no opinion on the Konami/Kojima controversy, and it has no effect on my enjoyment of the game at all. I think it's a shame when the zeitgeist takes over the narrative of a game that, in all aspects, has no right being as fun as it is. The last game I can remember this happening with is No Man's Sky. Take away Sean Murray's lies, and it was a genuinely fun game, but It was killed by negative zeitgeist around it. What's your opinion on undeserving games getting swept up in controversy that negatively affects a game's performance regardless of quality? Remember that there is a team of actual people that have nothing to do with the drama surrounding the game working on it. J-Tone.
Excellent points. That's all very true. And it does suck. It sucks that this game has to come out and be absolutely shat on whether or not people are going to give it a shot. Yeah. And it is affecting people that have nothing to do with the drama. And there's all these factors. Having said that, I mean, they made their own bed with this one. And I think
Konami did, yeah.
Konami did. And I think that, yeah, exactly. But what sucks is they haven't proved that this game is like, it's like, no, even with all that stuff, it's still worth it. And they had months. You know, I feel like the marketing of this game was so piss poor that did it such a disservice that for us to get even as far as we are, that it just came out and nobody knew.
I mean, that was the thing, right? Yesterday when I looked ahead to what was coming out this week and I saw it, I was like, what? How is there a Metal Gear game dropping tomorrow now today that I'm not all over, that I didn't even know was this week, and I mean, granted, part of that, sure, maybe I'm not paying attention, but I do think part of it is just the marketing isn't there for the game. Now, here's what I'm going to put out there for you, Tim.
Put it out there for me, Greg.
I wonder, I would love to be a fly on the wall, obviously, at Konami. And to J-Tone's point, and I think we've talked about it on the show, I've talked about it before on other shows for sure. At no point are we throwing stones at the development team working on Metal Gear Survive. This is at the top, and Konami fucked up along, and you know, who's still there? Well, how does it all work out? Who the fuck knows? It's weird. It's a tough spot to be in when there's somebody like Kojima who everybody loves and this, whatever. Put that aside for a second though. I'd love to be a fly on the wall of the marketing meetings on this. Is it, all right guys, don't even bother really getting crazy with spreading the word of this game because it's just going to get beat to shit no matter what. Is it that, or is it that plus we think the game is so good and is going to find an audience that we'd rather just release it, no expectations, people like J-Tone play it and then evangelize it, and then we build the player base from there.
That would be an interesting way to look at it.
Because what you were talking about a second ago, right, is that the marketing was so bad for piss poor. No, there is not an alternate reality where Konami can market this game and get a fair shake.
No, absolutely
There's
not.
no way for them to come out and be like, hey guys, it's Metal Gear Survive. You're not Kojima. I know it's a different kind of game. I'm a huge fan. All right, well, you know, like.
At what point then do you go, you know what? If it wasn't that, if it isn't the case that it's a good game, but at what point can they just go, we're canceling this game? Because that would have been such a statement, and I think that would have made these people happy. That wouldn't have made them money. They would have lost money. So there is a convergence point of, let's get through this. Let's not waste the marketing dollars. Let's hope that people like it. Let's do our best to at least have a core foundation that someone will enjoy, and then go from there. But I do think there's a future of Metal Gear at Konami that can make some people happen. We've been talking about it, and it's like, I know that they get a lot of shit if whatever they did because of all this situation, but I feel like if they made a good game, it could push through it, especially if they went back and remade some of the original ones. But with something like this, nobody, and I'm being very exaggerative here, but nobody wants Metal Gear Survive. I'm a Metal Gear fan. I love the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5. That's not what I want from a spinoff of Metal Gear Solid. When Rising Revengeance was announced, that was weird, but I'm like, this is cool. I get it. I want this. Metal Gear Survive, I remember when it was first came out, I was kind of defending it in the way that I was like, I love the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5, 4-player co-op, I could be interested in that. But then when we saw at E3, I was like, oh, this weird base building stuff is not cool.
So keeping on this fly on the wall mentality, here's my next thing that I thought you and I commented on at E3 that year, right? We went and played it. They gave a little presentation. It was a whole bunch of us in a back room. What we both found interesting when we looked around that room is that it wasn't us and IGN and GameSpot and whatever. It was us and people I know from the community Metal Gear Solid 5 review event, where they are YouTube and they are Twitch streamers. Where again, is it that they know that they're not going to get any GameSpot, IGN, etc. article is going to have a paragraph in there of like, and this is of course not traditional Metal Gear. It's not Kojima, but blah, blah, blah. Like they went straight to the people, maybe, right? Because and like what you're saying too is nobody was asking for this. With all due respect, that's a lie. Metal Gear Online is super popular.
Yeah, but that's different.
People
than
want
this,
more. You know, if it's still online, it's still multiplayer. I'm still saying
it is. But that's what I'm saying. It's like if it was that, I get it. Yeah. It's not though. This is some weird base building. Like if it was just Left 4 Dead with Metal Gear, I'm like, all right, I can kind of get that. the mechanics and stuff they added, I'm like, that's not Metal Gear Online. If it was just a Metal Gear Online suite, that would make sense. And I think that is a cash in on the brand, but I do feel like there's people that are actually asking for that. When this trailer came out for this game, I mean, we were in Texas and I remember looking at this being like, what the fuck is this?
I mean, we played it and we walked away like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, and but
Because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't Metal Gear.
Because look at Fortnite. Right, I feel like Fortnite's another one of those games. Obviously, nowhere near as dramatic as the Konami situation.
Yeah,
but it had such a long development cycle, and there were so many questions and like restarts and everything. And every time we saw a trailer, it looked weird and different. And I feel like everyone was like, "What? Why? Why is this still a thing?" And now look where it's at. It did find its niche, and it's blowing the fuck up.
I opened my phone to open Twitch because what I'd seen today was, back to this point, right? I followed Perfect Stealth, who was a big Metal Gear guy. He was, putting up, he's going to be streaming here and there and like giving away codes and stuff like that. I was like, oh, interesting. And maybe giving away games. And I don't know if he's buying those games. And I was like, I wonder if that's a Konami deal.
Marketing thing.
Yeah, of like,
that's
hey,
a great way to
stream
market
the game and do this thing. And that's not me throwing stones by any means. I'm just saying, I don't know what's behind that. So I open up. He's not streaming right now, but right now the top Metal Gear Survive stream has 2,100 viewers. It's on Outer Heaven. And it's Outer Heaven. I guess the stream is titled, Fuck Everything About This. So that's the fair shake I guess they're getting. But there's other ones, 666 here, 666. From Loading Ready Run, New Day Tuesday. They're playing Metal Gear Survive and stuff. So I don't know. I'm going to be fascinated. Unless I'm missing the emails, no one from Konami has hit us up about, hey, here's a code. I mean, I know maybe they probably pay attention to the show. They know that our interest has been like, meh, see what it is and what it's going to go. And like, I have no interest at this moment of putting down Monster Hunter to pick this up. I
would be interested to playing enough of it to see if it would be a fun party mode. I want to give this game a shot because I love the gameplay of 5 so much. Yeah. And I had a lot of issues with 5, but the gameplay was so good that it pushed me through. And that's why I feel like I'm so offensive about this game is that it's messing with the gameplay. We'll see, though.
We'll see.
Let us know.
If you've played it, please write into kindafunny.com/KFGD for tomorrow's show with Witta Wednesday. We'll see what you have to say. Back to out today, though. Old Man's Journey is on Switch. Puzzle Puppers is on Switch. Defender's Quest, Valley of the Forgotten DX. I hope it's D-Generation X. Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The Station is on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Apex Construct is on PlayStation VR. Deadbolt is on PlayStation 4 and Vita. Premium Pool Arena is on PlayStation 4. Run Dorothy Run is on PlayStation VR. Symmetry is on PlayStation 4. Tiles is on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Xenon Valkyrie Plus is on PlayStation 4. I swear to God, I talk about this game every week. I don't know why they're doing this piecemeal release. Rime has got a new Switch patch that fixes the frame rate if that was an issue for you. And then Xbox backwards compatibility has updated and added Vanquish.
Two classic games, Vanquish and Lara Croft and the Guardian Light. If you haven't played either of them, get on it, boys and girls. Fantastic.
Agreed. Yeah. No, both those games really, really cool. New dates for you. DC Superheroes DLC is coming to Rocket League on March 3rd. Mm-hmm. Get yourself a Flash car, Superman car. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then Island Time VR is coming to PlayStation VR, Vive, Oculus, and Steam VR soon. It makes the list because, full disclosure, I'm the crab in the game.
You are the main character.
I'm the main character of this game.
The titular title. No, that's not true.
No, it's his name, Island Time. No, I'm Carl the Crab in this game.
Carl the Crab.
Trailer's up on my Twitter. It's super exciting, super cool. I wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity because the only reason I'm sure I ever got on their radar is because you made me into Greg Miller from Kinda Funny, and so people pay attention.
And now Greg Miller, voice of Carl the Crab.
Carl the Crab. Trailer's up on
and then
there.
Comma Kinda Funny.
Exactly. Game's cool. It's PlayStation VR. I wanted to bring it up on top of that to show you the other side of development, where I walked in to do my VO. This is what I went to Dallas for. People called it out on Twitter and stuff. Walked in to do my VO, and I was like, oh, cool. And they let me play the game. I'm like, hey, this is actually fun. Thank God. Because I was terrified it was going to be a bad game. But I played. I was like, great. Blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. And they were like, and by the way, we got trophies in this game. Because their last game, Manifest 99, didn't. And it was the one Shuhei recommended. I just played this, and it was great. And I hit him up, and I'm like, what, does it have a platinum? He's like, there's no trophies at all. I'm like, This one, they're like, we got trophies in the game. I'm like, cool. Do you have a platinum trophy? And they were like, no, Sony said we couldn't have them. And I was like, that is bullshit. I've never been on this side of the thing right now. Hit them up right now and tell them you want and they're like, really? I'm like, yes. Everyone I've ever talked to about this says that if you just ask again, blah, 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 by the end of the day, they had a platinum trophy. So if you are a small fucking developer, you are not allowed to not have a platinum trophy. Just push back. Just push back on the damn thing. Be part of the community. We want it.
Be the change you want to see, Greg.
Be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah. Deals of the day for you. There's a crazy PlayStation VR sale right now, up to 75% off, PlayStation Plus required if you go to the digital PSN storefront. And then Xbox games with gold for March have been announced. Trials of the Blood Dragon will be available March 1st to the 30th on Xbox One. Super hot. Is available March 16th to April 15th on Xbox One. Remember right now, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can see Tim and I play Super Hot VR in the first episode of the PlayStation VR show. It'll be live for free for everybody on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. This Thursday. Brave, the video game, is available March 1st to the 15th on Xbox One and Xbox 360.
All right.
Is it a good one? The bad
Not
one?
that I haven't heard anything about
Disney
it.
fanboy. Well, it's old.
But I mean, if it was one of those like, no, but really it's good, I would know
you would
about
know about it already. And then Quantum Conundrum is available March 16th to the 31st on Xbox One and Xbox 360. Tim?
Yes.
You ready for some reader mail?
I am, Greg.
Well, so you have to wait a little bit longer because I need to tell you reader mail is brought to you by patreon.com/Jared Petty. Remember, Jared quit his job to make his new show, and the first episode is up. Ooh. Hop, blip, and a jump.
Blip, and a jump.
That's the first time I've had to say it without
it's like hop, skip, and a jump.
No, good.
But
Okay.
skip is blip.
Got it. Perfect. That's way easier. It's up right now on his YouTube channel. It's actually a really, really personal thing. Here's something I was reflecting on last night.
Reflect, Greg.
Because yesterday, a runaway success. Everyone excited to have Jared, first off, making video game content. Excited to have him on Kind of Funny. Excited
back.
about his new show. Everything's great. His first episode of Hot Blip and a Jump is super personal, super raw and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And all about Mario and what Mario means for his life.
Yes.
Unless you had inside information that I did not, did you ever notice how the universe works in the way that we were said to Andy, hey, make Jared graphics for the games cast.
Yeah.
And Andy made Mario.
Yeah.
And then we use that in the video and we use the Mario song in the thing.
Yeah.
So that from an outsider perspective,
It looks like there was a lot more
people
thought
would
and care
think
put
that
into
Jared
it.
was like, my debut episode's Mario, and we're like, we'll make a Mario graphic and use a Mario song. When in reality, I don't think any of those conversations happened.
I
Did
mean,
they?
it goes even deeper, Greg, where there's a lot of people that saw the trailer that were like, oh, I think that it's the Reverend Jared Petty because they use the choir music in the beginning. I can confirm, as the guy that made the trailer, these are all coincidences.
So weird.
It was just like, I was like, oh, we're going to do the Challenger Approaching thing for Smash Bros. So I was like, oh, I guess we'll use Smash Bros music. And then I was like, oh, this is a fun remix of just like a choir like doing it. So I was like, all right, I'll just use that. And then we had asked Jared what characters he wants for Gamecast, because for Gamescast this week, you'll see the new intro that we made. It's with the, it's us, me as Crash and Cloud. And
I'm
whatever.
Clementine,
And,
Solid Snake.
And I'm technically Zach. Doesn't matter. And Jared, we're like, oh, who do you want to be? And he gave us a list of characters, and Mario was one of them. So Andy sent me a bunch of things, and I just used Mario. Was one of them Chun-Li? Yeah, one
No,
was.
don't spoil it.
But I
Don't
didn't
spoil
use
it.
that. But then I used Mario, and then I was like, well, I need some type of music here. It needs to be quick. And I was like, oh, the little celebratory triple moon get music. And then I used that. So that was it.
Just interesting how sometimes it all works out for us.
Yeah.
And by sometimes, I mean all the time. We have constantly failed upward and made it look like we know what we're doing with this business. So yeah, anyways though, Jared quit his job. Please go over to Jared, patreon.com/Jared Petty. Kick him a few bucks. While you're there, maybe hit up Kind of Funny Games. But it's about him. He's the sponsor. For now, let's begin the show with Raul from Chicago. Raul wrote into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, Tim mentioned on Gamecast wanting a new art style for 2D Mario. I wonder if he would be down for a hand-drawn art style like the one in Wario Land Shake It. Good Feel developed that and Yoshi's Woolly World, so they have experience in platformers. Make it happen, Nintendo.
There's very few things I want more in my life than a 2D Mario with a new art style. Specifically a hand-drawn thing. Cuphead, are you kidding me? If you made a Mario game that looked, obviously not aping the style of Cuphead,
sure,
but that type of fluid animation and so much thought and care being put into the hand-drawn world, I'd be so into it. We saw hints of creativity in New Super Mario Bros. Wii U with that Starry Night level. There was a huge boon in 2D platformers, indie all the way up to AAA in the last, I'd say, 8 years when it comes to the silhouette style. Limbo introduced it, then we saw it a lot in Donkey Kong Country Returns. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're going and it's like everything looks black and it's cool. I want that for Mario. I want full in on that in the same way that we saw Mario 3 have its own unique look that made it so different than Mario 1. And then Mario World took in a totally different direction. And then Yoshi's Island took in an even different direction. And I want to see that type of, this is a brand new thing. And if they have a sequel,
think you'll
I
get
want it
that?
to be a brand new thing. I feel like they have to. I feel like at this point, if they were to come out and the next 2D platformer is a new Super Mario Bros. Game, that's not the Nintendo we're dealing with right now in 2018. Like I feel like they're past that, and especially having it be a style in Mario Maker, I'm hoping that's saying that era's done. You know, and having being one of the four where it's Mario 1, Mario 3, Mario World, and New Super Mario Bros. I hope that that's saying, hey, goodbye to this.
That'd be awesome. It's one of those and I don't want to say like whipped into submission, but like, oh, they're gonna do new 2D Mario. I jump to that style and forget about it. You know what I mean? I don't think about how would they redesign Mario? What would they make him look like?
It's such a big problem too because New Super Mario Bros. U was so good from a level design perspective. It was fantastic both as a multiplayer game and as a single player game. They nailed it. Some of the best levels ever in Mario, but nobody gave a fuck about it because it was on the Wii U and it had that same art style. And at that point, that was the second Mario game in that art style that came out that year because New Super Mario Bros. 2 came out on DS or 3DS. So they need to fix this because if they don't change that, people like you are not even going to pay attention to it. You're going to be like, fuck this. Like, I don't want it. But if it had a new look, you'd be like, oh, they care. I should care. Will they? I don't know.
The thing about it, though, that I would make, what my argument for not changing it would be the fact that they found success with it. People
and
do
it fucking sells. And it sells so well.
And now with the Switch, people are going to buy it regardless. If it came out and looked the same, I would totally buy it. I don't care. I loved the last one you're talking about, 3D World.
No, not 3D World. I'm not talking about 3D World.
Oh, sorry.
We're talking 2D.
Oh, right. Sorry.
New Super Mario Bros. U. I mean, I'm hoping.
I did not give
I'm
a fuck
hoping
about
we
that.
get a port of New Super Mario Bros. And Super Luigi U onto the Switch because I do feel like that'd be a good game, especially with the multiplayer. That would be fun. But Mario deserves a new look. He's had that same cartoony look since he's gotten a voice in '96 with Mario 64, and I just feel like it's time to get something different, and it'd be really good. In terms of good feel, I don't want them developing it. I love good feel. I love the games that they've made. I love the look of Wario Land Shake It, and I feel like in HD that would be awesome for Mario. But I think that Wario Land, specifically Shake It, was much slower of a game. It reminds me like Owlboy, where it's more adventure focused instead of platforming. And so I don't think that they'd be the right ones to do it. I want Nintendo EAD working on it, but we'll see.
You will see. You will see that one very soon. Next is Ethan from Chicago. Raul and Ethan, both from Chicago, both writing in today. They weren't back-to-back questions, but I find it interesting they both called out that they're from Chicago. I digress. Ethan writes in and says, a funeral for a console.
Oh, no.
Good afternoon, KFGD. Last night, my launch PlayStation 4 passed away.
Oh, no.
Doing the thing it loved. Playing Monster Hunter. In total, I logged 5,000 plus hours since buying this machine, beat plenty of exclusives, and much more. Alas, I was hoping Tim and Greg could say a few words for my beloved, before I send it off into the afterlife. Thanks, Ethan from Chicago. Tim.
You know, it was never clear what was the power button and what was the eject button, but that was okay. Because those moments that you had where you had to go and touch the PlayStation and connect and figure out which was which, you'll always have those in your mind. And now it's time to find a new lover.
Ooh.
And I suggest the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Ooh, okay.
So that you can play Burnout Remastered in a beautiful blistering 60
body's not
frames
even
per
cold
second.
in the ground yet, and you're telling them to move on.
Hey man, bigger and better. You got to think of the future, man. EA said it themselves. The past is the past. Second bird gets the cheese.
All right. I'm going to go a different way.
Oh no.
Brothers and sisters.
Oh my God.
Today is a dark day, and we gather as one PlayStation family to say goodbye to Ethan's launch PlayStation 4. A black beauty she was, Tim, if I ever saw one. An orange bar of light always there, gobbling up that electricity. 2 buttons people can't tell apart, which is weird. I don't understand why it's that hard. Just
Big
one.
issue.
Just remember one is on top, and that's the one, you know? or just use a controller. But Ethan never had that problem.
No, that's right.
5,000 hours played, Andy Cortez. Can I get a hallelujah?
5,000, hallelujah.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Wait, come on, you went to church.
That's right.
Anyways, Ethan's Black Beauty has gone to the great beyond. Shuhei, be praised.
Be praised.
We all know Jack Trenton not dead, but he will be there at the pearly gates to open them for Ethan's Black Beauty. Recycle it into maybe a brand new Glacier White PlayStation 4 Pro.
Amen.
Amen! Wherever you are right now, ladies and gentlemen, even if you're driving your car, close your eyes and bow your head and say goodbye to Ethan's launch PlayStation 4.
Hallelujah.
You lived a good life.
Lived a great life.
Do you clap at funerals? I don't know.
No, no, I don't. Not many of the things we just did. You do at a funeral. Penks writes into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, "Good day, kind of funny. I wanted to bring up a question for Mr. Nintendo himself, Tim Geddes. It's
me, Mr.
that
Tindo.
I'm surprised I haven't seen many people asking. With yesterday's announcement of the Mega Man Legacy Collection games coming to Switch, plus the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection coming to Switch as well, what does this mean for Virtual Console? With Capcom's two biggest franchises now most likely locked out from being sold to the traditional Virtual Console format, do you see other devs distributing their older games in this fashion on the Switch, and the Virtual Console service being relegated to first-party Nintendo games? Keep up the good work." Great work, he says. Very excited to see Jared joining the Kind of Funny team. Does this affect anything about Virtual Console?
I don't think so. I think that in a very specific way, these games might not be on the Virtual Console service, but that would be a Capcom decision, and they'll just figure that out when it's there. I imagine Nintendo is still trying to figure out exactly what it's doing with the Virtual Console and online system and stuff.
Yeah.
We know we're going to hear more in September. They're hyping it up, and it does sound like it's going to be the Netflix-style streaming service that we all want from it. But in Netflix fashion, not everything is there at all times. So I do think that there's going to be, if Nintendo was smart, what they would do is have a calendar where not every game is available. It's not the entire Nintendo library. I know it's what we want.
Yeah.
That's just not how this stuff works. It would behoove them to have things come, have things go.
Yeah.
Have this like cycle so that the news is always talking about the same thing with Games with Gold and PS Plus.
100%.
Like you
This
would
is
have
what you
never
can get
talked
from here to
about
here.
Brave the video game if it wasn't for Xbox Games with Gold. So I think that, having games be there and then go away is a news story. And when big ones like Mario RPG are there, that'll be a reason for people to join the system. And maybe have something like PS Plus where you can get it that month, download it, and then you do have it. So that doesn't fuck over the people that are longtime subscribers. But that would allow a system where games like Mega Man 1 through whatever it ends up being, which I guess would just be 1 through 6, would not be on the subscription service. And then maybe one day they would. Maybe Mega Man 1 is in 2 and 3, but not the others.
Yeah, because you figure even that's a gateway drug, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you put 2 or 3 up there, do 1, 2, or 3. And then you play that like, man, I really forgot how much I liked Mega Man. And like you even have an ad running, right? Of like, if you like this one, you can buy the collections.
Yeah, and then another way to look at it is it hasn't stopped Capcom or anyone before from doubling up and just not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
I can't think of any examples off the top of my mind, with the exception of, I guess, Mario All-Stars. You could buy that was just the most ridiculous thing they've ever done, where for Mario's 20th anniversary, I want to say, maybe 25th, they re-released Mario All-Stars on the Wii, but it was literally just the fucking ROM. And it's just like you're paying $50 for... it was ridiculous. But they still sold those games separately on the Virtual Console. And we see it a lot more on PlayStation, where it didn't matter if there was a Street Fighter collection, they still sold the Street Fighter games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can double dip, and I think you can break it up, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I have no idea what Virtual Console really looks like coming here. And I think the subscription service that you keep talking about being a big part of their online platform and why you're paying for online makes sense. And I think it'll be a brand new way to think about Virtual Console. But we'll see when we get there if they ever do anything. Initial D writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, "Hey guys, with Moss releasing next week on PlayStation VR, how well do you think it will sell? Being that this is a flagship title for PlayStation VR, if sales are poor, would it negatively impact the future of PSVR support? P.S. Is it weird that I proofread my question using Greg's voice? No, and I'm sorry you probably stuttered then like I often do. I expect it to sell well for a PlayStation VR game. Mm-hmm. I expect it to chart next month when we look at the numbers of here's what PlayStation VR did. I think it'll be beat by other games. I think Sprint Vector Sprint Vector should chart high as well. And that's when you get based on how many copies it's sold this month, because obviously that's not what's new this month. It's what's sold this month. I think it's going to be interesting. It really comes down to what kind of buzz Moss can get at the bigger outlets. I know about Moss. You know about Moss. PlayStation's pushing Moss. And so I know everyone right now on reddit.com/r/PSVR is excited for Moss, but they're also super excited for Sprint Vector. It's actually, there's great stuff coming up and all these different things happening. I don't know if it'll sell well enough to like be a huge deal outside of what PlayStation VR titles are supposed to do. Based on what we played at E3 with that demo that's up right now, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, I expect this game to be really good. I expect this game to be really cool. I hope that means you'll see coverage on an IGN, you'll see more coverage on a GameSpot, you'll see it break out of just the people who are super into PlayStation VR like myself, or even I was lapsed for a long time, break out of that and actually make the people who have just had it on their shelf gathering dust go, oh, that's cool, I want to try that. Because it is interesting when I talk about Sprint Vector being so good and Moss being so good, that they're dramatically different experiences. For most people, for a lot of people, I would imagine, Sprint Vector PlayStation VR is what they don't want in a VR experience. Where it is, you and I did the Let's Play, like I said, going up Patreon this week, of us up there and we're in like workout clothes, like doing this and sweating and getting hot and gross and turning around and doing an athletic exercise, right? Whereas Moss is, you can just sit in your chair and play and lean in, lean out and do the puzzles, and it gives you a new perspective on a gameplay that's easier for you to wrap your head around, where Sprint Vector, while awesome, is a different experience.
It's an arcade style experience.
Yeah,
it reminds me of like a peripheral arcade experience.
Yeah.
Like the old boxing.
Sure.
things,
Yeah.
And if sales are poor, would it negatively impact future PSVR support? I don't think so. I think this is the type of game that Sony knows what it is. They know where it can hit. And I believe that it's the type of thing that they're measuring as it only is possible for it to be a success. If the sales aren't good, they're like, oh, okay, that's what we kind of expected from this.
What's interesting about Moss, I feel, is, of course, Polyarch, the developer on it, kindoffunny.com/wrong, but I'm pretty sure I nailed that. They already have an app out where you can get like little quill, messages that you can put in your sticker pack kind of thing. They, had already had figures going for a long time. Like, there's a big push behind this to make it a thing. So I'm with you that I think PlayStation and Polyarch probably have their sights set on, we hope we hit this number, but just in general, this game we think is a really quality game. It's not an experience. It's not us,
Totally. And to be clear, I'm not saying that it's impossible for it to not sell enough to be a failure. I'm saying that I believe it will sell well past that point, and that it'll be at the very least, okay, we did what we needed to hit.
I'm really excited to get review code and play it. Patrick writes in, to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, hey, Greg and Tim, I picked up Bayonetta 1 and 2 on Switch this weekend. I'm reviewing number 2 for a podcast I'm on, parentheses, called Nintendo Cartridge Society, if you're feeling generous with the shoutouts, Greg. I am. And I was pumped for Bayonetta 2 from Getty's description on Friday's Kind of Funny Games Daily. Tim said it was full of, quote, crazy anime stuff, but not the bad anime stuff. And man, maybe we just disagree what constitutes bad anime stuff. The writing in this game is awful, juvenile, nonsensical, and way too excited to use the F word. The plot makes no sense and is basically an excuse to string together set pieces with no physical or emotional stakes. And then there's the Cheesecake Factory. No, Factor. I'm just hungry, sorry. I don't think I've ever played a hornier game. Between a camera that won't get off Bay's vagina and a moveset that's always this close to showing her nipples, it's embarrassing to play this thing in front of other people. I'm really struggling to see what people like about this game.
I feel about him calling me out there on the bad anime stuff. It's like, obviously the word bad is very subjective.
Yeah.
And I what I mean is, what I don't like, the bad anime stuff to me is the bullshit high school filler episodes of things, and just a lot of like, it's filler. Essentially, it's a lot of bullshit filler and being way too convoluted and unnecessary when you're actually trying to tell a real story.
Sure.
Bayonetta's not trying to tell a real story. It is trying to get you from set piece to set piece. And that's why it's the dumb, cool anime stuff where it is fan service. It's just dumb. It is just chaos and ridiculousness, and it's get you to the boss fight, get you to the action scene, get you whatever. Why is this game good, and what do people like about it? It's the gameplay, it's the action, it's the stylish button combos and everything. And in that sense, this game's fantastic. Is it gratuitous in its sexuality? Yeah. If you can just put your mindset into that being a cool thing, this game's for you. If you can't, don't play it. It's not for you. It is ridiculous how overly sexualized the entire
You
thing
understand, of course, that I'm an outsider of this, having, I think, played 2 seconds or whatever. I have no leg to stand on about any of this shit. But, and I know this isn't your wheelhouse technically either. Bayonetta being sexualized in the game, isn't that also a move, though, owned by... I feel like there's tons and tons of female gamers that look to Bayonetta as a positive influence, right? Rather than your traditional, hey, here's my weird MMO or whatever, where all the men are in super chainmail and all the girls are just in chainmail bikinis or something.
I mean, this game definitely owns its sexuality, and I think that's what you're trying to say. I absolutely agree with. Where it's just like there is a big sect of women women gamers that love this game and feel supported by it. There's also a sect that aren't, and that's how all. Of course, all these.
And I know that's why I'm like, I know this isn't something we can put in the package.
This game is very pro-sex, and that's kind of my stance on a lot of the gender equality stuff. And it gets very complicated, and everybody has a different opinion.
Sure.
But I think the reason people like the game is not for those things necessarily, but it's fun.
Okay,
I recommend Bayonetta.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD, giving your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in video games. I read it here. The best friends come and find you. Y'all play games together and have a good time. Today, Matt needs help on Xbox One. His Xbox Live username is TheDurgenborn. That's DURGEN, all one word. TheDurgenborn. I'm sure the best friends are still playing PUBG on the box, always looking for duos or squads. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're playing PUBG on the box, hit up TheDurgenborn. You'll play together and have fun. We have a follow-up new segment to yesterday's old segment, of course. This trophy can go fuck itself. Today, we have this trophy, fuck this trophy follow-up. This one comes from Xolgren. Xolgren writes in and says, hey everybody, I thought I'd just spread a bit of knowledge on finding both really big and really small monsters for those trophies. I'm at 9 large, 7 mini. Remember yesterday a guy wrote in all pissed off about crowns in the game and how am I going to find this and what does this mean? Xolgren goes on to say, first do the high rank event on right now with the 5 monsters. Deep Green Blues. It's up for a couple more days and has a wildly high chance of spawning crown-sized monsters. I got 2 large and a mini in my very first run-through. Every week, for the next few at least, we'll feature a similar quest for each zone. Do them and bask in your growing crown collection. Second, don't bother trying to get any crowns in low rank stuff or in optional quests or in assigned quests or in expedition. Do investigations. It appears that the harder the investigation in terms of lives, time, number of monsters, etc., the better odds of a crown, but don't quote me. Third, this is more of a time saver point. You will eventually be able to tell which monsters are bigger or smaller than normal. Only spend time killing those. When your possible crown monster is dead, return from your quest. Do not abandon the quest. Sorry if this got a little long, but best of luck to everybody in getting those crowns. Xolgren. Thank you, Xolgren. Monster Hunters for life. Tim?
Yes.
We asked people watching live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames to write in to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and set us straight with the things we fucked up. What did we fuck up today?
Kebab says Burnout Paradise did have a sort of crash mode called Showtime, but it was just bouncing down the road hitting traffic, and it wasn't the developer designed set pieces from Burnout 2, 3, and Revenge.
That's what I was talking about.
Nef Danif has an important update from Polygon. EA confirmed that Burnout Paradise Remastered will support 60 frames per second gameplay across all platforms.
Thank you very much.
Luker Wolf says the PC version of Metal Gear Survive did not release today. Konami announced on the Steam forums this morning the game will be available tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
These sons of bitches. Guess y'all have to play more Excel in Tax Organizer 2018.
Falcon Box says Vice City did indeed have 10 songs removed in the later PC and PS4 digital releases, including iconic songs like Michael Jackson's Billie Jean and Wanna Be Startin' Something. Full list of removed songs includes those: Bark at the Moon, Wow, Rocket, Looking for the Perfect Beat, Running with the Night, and a couple songs from Radio Espantoso.
Oh. Running with the
San Andreas
devil.
also lost songs.
Okay.
A little editorializing, but I appreciate this. BM Fan says, hi, it wasn't just the lack of crash mode that a lot of Burnout fans didn't like about Paradise. The older games were also not open world and let you pick races and cars off a menu rather than having to drive around to find them. Also, the open world, open route nature of Paradise made the game feel a lot slower and less chaotic, which took away a lot of the fun many found in the older games. Should also be noted that despite how many look back at Paradise, it is the second lowest reviewed game in the franchise.
Oh, damn.
And also didn't sell as well as some of the other games.
Interesting.
CG Danny B says, I believe the original Battle Royale before H1Z1 you're referring to is The Culling, which was released March 4, 2016. Or possibly Natural Selection 2 from 2012. The Culling was one that I remember
Culling. The name, I never played it. Running with the devil.
Kratos Rager says, not really you're wrong, but Age of Empires Definitive Edition came out yesterday at 9 p.m. PST.
Okay, and that's a today release, guys. That's 12:01 Tuesday. Nice fucking try. Break your dick off.
What should they do with it then?
Tell him he's wrong. Tell him!
You're wrong. Kebab says, incorrect. Yeah, about the guy saying that it was the second least reviewed.
Okay.
Kebab's is you're wronging his you're wrong. Incorrect. Metacritic has Burnout Paradise rated at 87, and I highly doubt it sold less than Burnout Crash did. See below for the Metacritic ratings. Burnout 3 at 1, Burnout Revenge, Burnout 2, Burnout Paradise, Burnout Crash, and Burnout Dominator. And he says, for Tim, the lowest rated Burnout game on Metacritic is Burnout Crash on consoles with 69.
Got it. Nice.
Lord of Pone says, and this is kind of, it is technically you're wrong, but you were just kind of joking and talking. There's not a Flash car nor a Superman car in the Rocket League DLC pack. The only vehicles are the Batman Tumbler and the 89 Batmobile. Everything else is a cosmetic item like decals and wheels. Ignacio Rojas confirms you don't clap at funerals.
Thank you. We were very on the fence about that. You can clap at whatever you want.
Ignacio Rojas also says the re-release of All Stars Pack was for the 25th anniversary. Thank you. And that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every week on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, watch live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Watch whatever's happening in your real life while you listen to us on podcast services around the globe. Remember, everything we do is brought to you by patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Head over there, kick us a couple bucks, get shows early, keep the wheels of content going here. If you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, even if you don't watch us live on Twitch, we'd love it if you went over. Just Google while you're signed into Amazon, Twitch Prime. You can give away a free subscription each and every 30 days. We'd love to have yours. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means Gary Whitta might put on real pants and come over here and talk to us about video games. Still no coffee for him. No, Cool Greg got coffee. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.